Hi guys, it's Paulo Synthmania, and we just had the first snow of the season, and thankfully just a little snow, because if there's a lot of snow, everything stops in this area. This is reality. Hey guys, it's Paulo Synthmania, and while we didn't get a whole lot of snow, the temperature did drop and it's quite cold today, so we're gonna stay right here in the studio where it's nice and warm, also thanks to the JP-8 power supply which can get quite toasty. And today I wanted to talk about a memory that I have of a classic JP-8 sound that I've always loved. But to do that we have to go back to the Roland W-30, and in particular I like to load this diskette here, which was a diskette that I received when I bought my W-30 back in 1990. It came from the Roland, Italy, I think showroom. Okay, let's load the disc. And while it loads, you can see that it says New Sample Sounds Volume 2, copyright 1989, Roland, Italy. There were a lot of Roland showrooms in Italy back in the late 80s, early 90s, because I remember that Roland had a big factory in Milan, and just Roland was very popular in Italy at that time. Let's take a look at the disc. And here is the disc. As you can see, it has 6 patches, JP-8 strings, analog pad 1, OB strings, soundtrack 1, voice E1, and heaven. Let's go through some of the patches minus the one I want to show to you on the JP-8. Okay, this is the second patch on that diskette. I'm going to skip the first one. The second patch was called analog pad 1. Classic warm analog pad. The third patch was called OB strings, very probably taken from the Oberheim line of OB synths. The fourth one was Soundtrack, which is a classic Roland S-series samplers W-30 sound. Quite nice, quite dreamy. Patch 5 is Voicey, and this one is a take on the famous Fairlight sound, a Vox sound. And finally, the sixth patch was Heaven, a patch I was very familiar with already when I bought the W-30, because I had a Roland D50 prior to buying the W-30, and this was sampled from my favorite patch ever, Staccato Heaven from the Roland D50. just played was actually a song that we used to play back in the late 80s with my band. But now let's come to the very first patch that I wanted to talk about tonight. This patch floored me when I first heard it, when I plugged the diskette in the W-30 in 1990. And it's called JP-8 Strings 1, and it goes like this. As you can hear, it's a very beautiful patch. And back then I remember talking to myself, I was like, man, someday I really need to get a JP-8. This thing sounds incredible. If this sounds as beautiful as this on a sample sound, what does the original sound like? Let's go and find out. I was finally able to hear that patch on the real thing 10 years later. I bought this JP-8 in the year 2000, and the Roland Italian corporation had sampled this patch from a patch on the JP-8 called Mellow Strings, and on the real JP-8 it sounds like this. Quite beautiful, isn't it? Also, the JP-8 had other types of strings which were very beautiful as well. Let's check them out real quickly. And of course the JP-8 was very popular, famous for its brass as well. Let's check out some brass sounds, typically 80s. Who's in 1980s there. Nice sample and hold there. And finally, I just wanted to show you this brass patch here, which was, well, maybe not this one in particular, but it is the brass sound of the 80s. You can do this patch in many other synths, but on the JP-8 especially, it sounds just like, you know, Madonna. And it goes like this. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed my silly memories of the 90s, and stay warm. I'll see you at the next video.